I went into the Steam Next Fest demos with some pretty high expectations, especially for RPGs, because one of them is one of my most anticipated RPGs for this year. And it had a freaking demo that I got to play. And then there was a co-op RPG, one that was more like a Dark and Darker type game that I was also really excited about because a trailer of it before had really looked like an engaging experience, a more RPG focused experience than the creeping about type of gameplay that is in Dark and Darker. And the fact that it was made by former Blizzard devs didn't hurt. But what I didn't expect, what I really didn't expect, was that there would be another RPG, one that I barely even knew about, that would completely and utterly blow me away, taking it from a game that I didn't really even know about to one of my most anticipated RPGs coming out soonish. A game that actually might even be coming this year, hopefully, at least their website says 2024. And that is a bit of what the beauty of Steam Next Fest is. It's a time when we get to jump into games that we may have never tried, to see things and experience games that are really going to potentially become some of our favorites, like this one might. So let's talk about these 3 games, what I'm excited about and what I'm a little concerned about, and why this last game has jumped up my list. New Arkline was one of my most anticipated RPGs this year due to its setting, story, and turn-based RPG nature. A haunting, story-rich mystery of elves, humans, and Victorian steampunk. So when I saw that it was going to be part of Steam Next Fest, I had to give it a try. Once I jumped into the game, admittedly it was a bit rougher around the edges than I expected it to be. From somewhat janky camera movement to an abrupt start to the game that left me a bit reeling and uninvested. A lack of voice acting tempered my expectations as well. But it's not really that really set me back. It's perhaps some of the dry or even bad dialogue writing so far that has me the most concerned, because games like this really need good writing. That said, the environments are beautiful and they evoke a lot of emotion. The overall story itself seems to be engaging and interesting, even if the dialogue is a bit rough. Combat was fun and I can see how it will grow in complexity over time. If you like CRPG combat, it's gonna make sense and it's gonna fit. I don't know who the hell my companion is or really who I am in this short demo, but at least I got to see how you and your companions would work together with both melee and ranged combat. It's a game I'm still interested in, I still want to see what comes from it, but I would say that my hopes for the RPG may have dropped a little bit, largely because of the dialogue. I really think that is going to be a kicker for me. If that part doesn't get like some refinement, some improvement, I think it'll drop the game down a little bit for me, but at least the combat was fun. And so if you're more into the CRPGs for combat and turn-based tactics, it might still be one of the most anticipated games. And it's still a really cool setting that really doesn't get explored by many games. So it's that part alone is pretty freaking cool. This next game, well, we gotta talk about the fact that it is still an early access title. And it might not have been ready for this. Legacy Steel and Sorcery came in a close second to New Arkline for my most anticipated RPG demo from this Steam Next Fest. But I feel like that might have been a bit misplaced, at least for now. Jumping into Legacy Steel and Sorcery, it's very quick to see just how raw the game still is. Made by former Blizzard developers, it is an extraction PvPvE game kind of like a Dark and Darker or a Dungeonborn, but with a distinct action RPG-esque feel to it. The problem is, for the demo, it felt rough, very, very rough. The bones are there, and I can see how it'll be at least an amusing game once it's dialed in, and how it could potentially have more depth as an RPG than some of these other games, especially if they expand out on like some of these questing stuff, a little bit like Dungeons of Sundaria. But the controls and hitboxes were just a little off. Damage and skills felt like they needed balance. The world felt fairly empty and bland with really just repetitive enemies. And of course, there was the fact that they still have plenty of work in process assets, and all of your characters are the same. There's not really customization. This game, after its demo, moved from excitement to, well, really wait and see. If new Arkline still has my interest, but I have concerns, this one may have potentially lost it completely and may need to earn it back. But the next RPG on this list, it completely blew me away.
Biggest rat I've ever seen. That's not natural.
Mandragora is a game I did not see coming. It was an RPG I'd never really even heard of. I saw a trailer for it at Gamescom and that's about it. It is a side-scroller in 2.5D that looked, well, a whole lot of like No Rest for the Wicked in art style, from a developer I've never heard of, Primal Game Studios. Mandragora was the surprise hit for me, a Metroidvania action RPG Souls-like, and if that sounds like a mouthful, it is. But within moments, I was loving this game, even if the demo didn't give much in the way of customization, limiting the classes we pick, including the magic users whose magic just looks incredible. But instead of that magic, you got to play someone that looked, well, a whole lot like Wolfheart FPS. But what was it about this game, beyond the fact that it's a very pretty game, that really pulled me in? I mean, I'm not really a fan of 2.5D type games, although this one is beautiful. Well, there's a lot, actually. A lot more than I thought. And some of it is the more traditional RPG aspects of it. When it says Souls-like, the mechanics are there, though that's nothing that I did that felt as brutally punishing as, like, say, an Elden Ring or a Dark Souls. At least not yet. I died plenty, and you do have to go do the same kind of thing of going back to get your corpse from your different rest areas that you found. But some of those deaths, let's be honest, I probably shouldn't have died. Moving on, despite my limited gaming abilities, I was still able to make steady progress. You have to adjust to the side-scroll nature of the combat for your dodges and attacks, but I was taken aback by just how much variety I saw in such a short time, how gorgeous the world was, and how fluid the combat felt despite being a side-scroller. Even the platforming itself felt fun. Why am I showing you this? I don't have an editor. This is just me. The short demo was more than enough to convince me once this game releases to snap it up. I want to delve into the dark fantasy world of Mandragora, a world that has been overrun by monsters, and fight all of these nightmarish creatures. I want to use the witch lantern to tear the very fabric of reality and make choices I regret, from immersive storytelling of Brian Mitsoda, writer of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. You know, well-written lines like, well, this one.
Hey, Ella, you know why I don't trust trees? They're a little shady.
Oh, Dad, you're so bad at jokes. And you already said that one.
Bad jokes aside, I did feel engaged. I felt like the characters were interesting. I wanted to go into this world. It had a very Witcher-esque quality to it. I very much felt a little bit like a Geralt, a 2.5D Geralt. So like squished Geralt.
It's not my frog. A new face. A cause of celebration around these parts. Rosalie, around for everyone, on me. Drink and be merry, Inquisitor. Who knows what tomorrow might bring to Wickham. Friends call me Pepper, and everybody's my friend. Drink, Inquisitor. Drink and forget tomorrow. We only live once.
An Inquisitor. Hope you're not here for any of my patrons. I suspect you're looking for Commander Claiborne. He's at the end of the street. Guards outside the door. Oh, and if you ever find yourself back this way, stop by. Got something that might test those famed abilities of a Crimson City Inquisitor.
Characters I met in the demo were already very compelling, and I think I already made one decision that might have consequences later with a certain merchant. I'm excited to see where this game goes, and I was pleasantly surprised by its quality. It was far and above my favorite demo of Steam Next Fest, or at least my favorite RPG demo. But I don't think you want to hear about Rivals of Aether 2, the fighting game that's a lot of fun, or the game where you ski a lot and I had a lot of fun skiing. Though I'll link those two games down below too. The art direction of Mandragora is fantastic, the acting is superb, and the combat is fun. The RPG customization is extensive and excellent. Just look at this really ridiculously big tree of skills that you can update as you go through the game. This is a game that I came away from eagerly anticipating and made me oh so thankful for the opportunity to demo it. I have put links to all these games down below if you want to go ahead and wishlist them. And just as a reminder, wishlisting games, especially indie games, is a huge help to developers because it helps get more visibility on those games. I know you get asked all the time to wishlist games, that's why. It helps them get more visibility. It really helps. It doesn't take much. If you're interested in the game, just wishlist it. And also, it helps if you have bad memory like me in remembering said games.
Hey, buy something, will you? Do you think I want to be doing this? Used to be rich, I did. Then, that night, the whole West End fell. My side of town. I was stuck in some peasant girl over on this side. Probably should be thankful. That's what they say. If not for a middling lay, I might be dead like the rest. Forced to live the rest of my life hawking trinkets. Does that sound lucky to you? Let me know if you want any of this shit.
Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, night, whatever time zone. Bye-bye.